No mirrors, no machines, no protein tubs. Yet a single Macedonian phalanx could move like a living wall of iron, advancing uphill under missile fire. Shields locked, spears level, hearts steady. The shocking truth is this: their strength wasn't built in buildings. It was built in dust, cold, hunger, and discipline. They trained without gyms, but not without science. They trained without equipment, but not without method. And somewhere between the clang of bronze and the rhythm of breath, they discovered something modern fitness is only now rediscovering: that the strongest bodies are shaped by purpose, not convenience. The mystery begins with a question that sounds almost unfair to modern ears. How did young men, many barely out of boyhood, learn to carry shields heavier than a car tire, hold spears longer than a man is tall, march for days, fight for hours, and still obey commands with precision, without barbells, treadmills, or recovery shakes? The answer isn't hidden in a secret exercise, it's hidden in a way of living. To understand the training of the Macedonian Phalanx, you have to unlearn what you think training is. This wasn't a 1-hour workout squeezed between meals and sleep. It was a total environment. The body was never separated from the day. Strength wasn't something you did, it was something you became. Macedon, before it conquered the known world, was a rough land. Cold winters, hard soil, thin margins between survival and failure. Boys grew up herding animals, hauling wood, repairing walls, walking long distances over uneven ground. Modern research would call this constant low-level physical stress. Today we know that bones grow denser when they're loaded repeatedly, that tendons stiffen and strengthen through habitual strain, that coordination improves when the nervous system is challenged daily. The Macedonians didn't know the words, but they lived the truth. By the time formal military training began, the body was already conditioned, not sculpted, not optimized for aesthetics, but resilient. The first lesson wasn't how to fight, it was how to stand. Hours spent upright under load, shield strapped to the arm, spear held steady, spine tall. Posture was survival. A sagging line meant death. Modern biomechanics tells us that isometric holds under load strengthen deep stabilizing muscles better than many dynamic movements. The phalanx was an isometric masterclass disguised as warfare. And then there was marching, endless marching. Not the kind done on flat parade grounds, but over hills, mud, stones, heat, and cold. Marching with 30 kilograms of gear teaches the body to move efficiently or suffer. Oxygen use becomes economical. Feet learn to strike softly. The core learns to brace instinctively. Today, endurance scientists talk about mitochondrial density and capillary growth. Back then, they talked about keeping up or being left behind. The hidden truth is that the phalanx wasn't built on explosive power first. It was built on endurance, the ability to hold formation longer than the enemy could hold courage. Strength was layered on top of stamina, not the other way around. This flips modern training on its head, where many chase strength before resilience. The Macedonians knew that a strong man who tires is weak, but a tireless man grows terrifying. Training intensified as boys became soldiers. They drilled not with variety, but with repetition. The same movements again and again, until thought disappeared. Lock shield, step forward, lower spear, breathe. There's a modern neurological principle here. Repetition under mild stress builds myelination, the insulation around nerve fibers that makes signals faster and more reliable. In simple terms, the body learns to obey instantly. In battle, this meant a phalanx that moved like one animal, not thousands of individuals. Food was simple: barley, bread, cheese, onions, wine watered down. No calorie tracking, but constant movement ensured energy balance. Occasional hunger was normal. We now know that mild caloric stress combined with activity can improve metabolic flexibility, teaching the body to switch between fuel sources. The Macedonian soldier was metabolically adaptable by necessity. He could fight fed or hungry, rested or tired. Sleep was not optimized, but it was earned. After long days of labor and drill, sleep came fast and deep. Growth hormone pulses strongest during deep sleep, repairing muscle and connective tissue. Their recovery wasn't managed. It was enforced by exhaustion. There's a lesson here modern life resists. Sometimes the best recovery tool is honest fatigue. As training progressed, the Phalanx introduced controlled brutality, shield-on-shield pushing, bodies leaning into one another, learning to absorb force without panic. This wasn't brawling, it was pressure tolerance. The nervous system learns what stress feels like, and then learns it won't die from it. Modern psychologists call this stress inoculation. Macedonian soldiers simply called it becoming steady. Breathing was never taught as a technique, yet it was trained relentlessly. Marching, holding, pushing, fighting, all demanded rhythmic breath. Those who gasped panicked. Those who breathed survived. Today, studies show that slow, controlled breathing improves heart rate variability, a marker of resilience. The Phalanx breathed itself into calm without ever naming it. Then there was pain, not glorified, not avoided. Blisters, sore joints, cold hands, sunburn. Pain was information, not identity. This is perhaps the hardest lesson for modern minds. Pain wasn't something to eliminate before action. It was something to act alongside. Neuroscience now shows that perception of pain changes with meaning. When discomfort is tied to purpose, it becomes tolerable, even forgettable. The Macedonian soldier didn't ask if training hurt. He asked if it worked. Weapons doubled as training tools. The sarissa, the long pike, demanded shoulder endurance, grip strength, and coordination. Holding it level for minutes trained the same muscles modern athletes target with loaded carries and overhead holds. The shield trained unilateral strength, forcing one side of the body to adapt while the other stabilized. Asymmetry, now praised in functional training, was built into their daily life. Perhaps the most overlooked element was community. Training was never solitary, suffering was shared. This matters more than we like to admit. Studies consistently show that people push harder and endure longer when effort is collective. Oxytocin rises, fear drops, pain tolerance increases. The Phalanx was a social engine of resilience. No one trained alone, and no one quit alone. Alexander the Great inherited this system and sharpened it. He didn't invent the Phalanx, he trusted it. He trained with his men, marched with them, slept on the ground with them. Leadership wasn't motivational speeches. It was shared hardship. The result was psychological alignment. When the line advanced, it wasn't because of orders alone. It was because everyone believed in the man beside them. Here lies the first great lesson. Strength is environmental. The Macedonian Phalanx didn't rely on motivation. It relied on structure. The environment demanded movement, cooperation, and endurance. Modern life does the opposite. It removes friction, then asks us to manufacture effort in artificial spaces. Gyms try to recreate what daily life once required. The second lesson is that simplicity scales. No complex programming, no constant novelty, the same drills, the same marches, the same loads, slightly harder over time. Progressive overload without spreadsheets. Today, exercise science confirms that consistency beats variety for long-term adaptation. The Phalanx was consistent to the point of boredom, and that boredom was strength in disguise. The third lesson is about identity. Training wasn't something Macedonian soldiers did to look better. It was who they were. Identity-driven behavior sticks. When movement is part of who you are, not something you schedule, it survives stress, chaos, and fatigue. The Phalanx didn't train to be warriors. They trained because they were warriors. As years passed, bodies changed. Not dramatically muscled, but dense, scarred, capable. Archaeological evidence suggests robust bone structure and joint wear consistent with lifelong load-bearing. These were not fragile physiques. They were built to last through impact and repetition. Longevity in their context meant surviving campaign after campaign. Durability was success. There is a quiet humanity beneath the armor. These men laughed, complained, missed home. Training wasn't joyless. There were songs on the march, jokes around fires, pride in shared hardship. Positive emotion matters. It buffers stress hormones, supports immune function, and reinforces memory. The Phalanx wasn't a machine, it was a culture. As the sun set on their camps, muscles aching, shields stacked, spears grounded, the body learned something modern bodies often forget, that it is adaptable beyond comfort, that it grows not only when challenged briefly, but when challenged repeatedly, patiently, with meaning. The story doesn't end in ancient dust. It reaches forward into us. We live in a time of unprecedented convenience and unprecedented fragility. We move less, yet feel more tired. We train more intentionally, yet often feel weaker. The Macedonian Phalanx offers a mirror, not a prescription. You don't need their wars. You don't need their weapons. But you can borrow their principles. Build strength into your day, not just your schedule. Walk more than you think you need. Carry awkward things. Stand tall under load. Repeat simple movements until they become instinct. Share effort with others. Let discomfort teach without letting it define. Most of all, reconnect strength to purpose. The Phalanx wasn't chasing fitness. It was serving something larger than comfort. Modern science agrees with ancient practice on this one point with startling clarity. Bodies thrive when they are useful. Living better, not just longer, means accepting that ease is not the same as health, that resilience is earned slowly, that the quiet discipline of daily movement outlasts any burst of motivation. The Macedonian Phalanx conquered empires not because they trained harder for an hour, but because they lived stronger every day. And in a world filled with gyms, apps, and endless advice, that might be the most radical lesson of all.